I've been collecting retro video games for well over 5 years now, and in that time, I've amassed a pretty decent collection of well over 2,000 video games. But now, because of work, I'm living in a completely different city for half of the week, and I thought it was a good chance to start the whole thing over again, starting with just $25 and building our way to a killer retro video game collection. Let's start things off with a recap of where we left things off in the last episode. A pretty decent collection is starting to build here in Game Room 2, and that NES Classic was a huge score in the last episode. A lot of great games have been added to the collection, and definitely we have some items that have been slow to sell on eBay, so we're still waiting on some of those to move, but we have $68.29 Canadian left in the game fund right now, so it's time to go thrifting.
This is just so classic Value Village with the boxed Atari flashback, $14.99, and then right next to it, another Atari flashback. I don't know if it's the same one. Nice.
Thrift stores, at least in my area, tend to always be the same. You can go 4 times in a week and score once and completely strike out every other time. You start to feel like you're wasting your time a little bit after a while, but sometimes the bread and butter items are the ones you have to go after if you're looking for stuff to resell, and these Wii wheels have sort of been historically a good mover. Yeah, these ones haven't sold yet. For a total of $9.18 Canadian, I'm buying 2 more, and the main reason for that is this Wii nunchuck that was attached to the bundle. This should easily flip for about $10 Canadian, assuming we can get it tested and working, which means all the profit from the new Wii wheels, if we ever sell them, will be pure profit. We've hit just about every thrift store in the area and come up pretty empty-handed today, but then I get a text from my brother-in-law.
Hey, Scott, want to go check out a collection with me today? There's this guy on the other side of the river, has a heated garage, shelves full of thousands of movies, games, and DVDs. It's wall-to-wall, man. Come with me.
Let's go dig for some games.
My brother-in-law he collects video games, so.
Holy. Okay, so $4 for everything. There's a lot to go through, and yeah, the extra cases is literally like the best service you can offer. If you want to upgrade cases before you purchase, you can.
This place had so much stuff for sale. I'm gonna take you through all of the finds that we're gonna flip first. Starting off with this copy of Super Mario Galaxy on the Nintendo Wii. This is probably gonna be one of the easiest flips and will probably net us somewhere between $15 and $20 Canadian. This one's gonna go up local Facebook Marketplace resale. Next up is an absolute score, and we find NHL Hits 2003. It is the only GameCube game that I found when I was on this hunt. It's missing the manual, and the disc has absolutely seen better days, but we're gonna take it back to Game Room 1 and test it up to make sure it's working before we list it on eBay as disc and case only, and we should do pretty well with that one. A game that I'm absolutely not keeping in the collection is Bratz Diamonds, and the only reason for this pickup that is complete in box and in really nice condition is because it does pretty well on eBay. I think I can probably get around $19.99 or $20 Canadian shipped for this one. So yeah, that'll be good for the resale fund. They had 2 copies of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, neither with the map, but both in really nice condition. I only took 1 this time. I'm gonna try listing this local resale for $10 Canadian and see if I get any bites. And if it sells quickly, I'll probably go back and get the other one. Wrestling games are sort of hit and miss, but some sell better than others, and I did notice that the greatest hits copies of certain wrestling games for some reason tend to sell better than others on eBay. This one was a complete in-box copy with a disc in really nice condition, and this tends to sell pretty well on eBay, so should make a really good flip to fund our Game Room 2.
Oh, I have a very I have a very rosy outlook on what games used to look like. I realize they're not going to look great by today's standard, but I'm still into it.
I think that just like the bulk of what you see here, Xbox 360, Wii, and PlayStation 2, is a good indicator that those are cheap consoles to collect for right now. They should absolutely be ones on your hit list. Now, it's a good cheap way to get into it, especially at $4 a game. Yeah. This is the cheapest you're ever going to put together a collection.
let's get into some of the games that I picked up that are staying on our shelves. First up is this Xbox One copy of Rare Replay. This is a killer compilation on the Xbox One with a bunch of amazing Rare titles, and if you know Rare as a developer, yeah, they make some pretty killer games, and this has a lot of them. Everything from Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie to Blast Corps and Jet Force Gemini. Tons of N64 gems re-released in what is... Are they remastered? Inspiring Worlds, iconic characters. This has Saberwolf? Huh, I just bought that. Lovingly presented for Xbox One. You're gonna have to tell me down in the comments whether or not those are remastered, but this one is for sure staying in the collection. A complete in-box copy of Super Bust-A-Move on the PlayStation 2 in pretty decent condition, but I'm not gonna lie, the only reason why I picked this up is because that cover art is way too cool not to have featured on the game shelves here at Game Room 2. One that I'd never heard of was Drake of the 99 Dragons on the original Xbox. This copy is complete in box, and the disc is completely perfect. Xbox 360 just tends to be one of those consoles that you'll always find pretty decent and cheap titles for, and this is a complete copy of Syndicate, which I had never heard of before and looks like it could be a pretty interesting game. This one also, as an added bonus, has artwork on the inside of the cover art. And I just noticed that this is scratched so badly that you can see through the disc, so... Am I the only one who randomly sees these kind of Wii games like Billy the Wizard Broomstick Racing and thinks, maybe that's a half-decent game? I know I shouldn't, but I want to. Top Shot Arcade on the Nintendo Wii. Why I bought this?
We are in the zone.
What's the word?
I'm not really sure.
I'm writing up everything you got!
I've never seen this anywhere. Tales from the Hood?
Oh, that was cool.
I also had one sled left over from that listing that I picked up of 4 all at the same time. It was the last one to go, but that also sold $40 Canadian out the door. It was in a little bit rougher shape than the others, so I let it go for slightly cheaper, but it's still money in the bank, which leaves, all told, our game fund sitting at this for right now. I can never resist picking up another GT Racer sled, and I found this pristine listing on Facebook Marketplace for what is a pretty good sled, and even though it's listed at $30, I'm absolutely picking this one up because it should be an easy way to double my money. One more quick stop at the thrift store for this week. See if we can find any more video game goodies, and they had a few actually. Took a quick stop to the jewel case to find a loose copy of Steel Princess.
That little guy right there. Cool, thanks. Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Took a look at this one. I already own it back at the main game room, but I would have liked to pick up this loose copy for Game Room 2. It's just a little bit too far out of my price range though. I always take a quick stop through the loose electronics and cables, and this time I found something kind of interesting. This Pac-Man plug and play caught my eye, and at $4.99 it's a pretty decent score. I recently reviewed on my channel a Capcom plug and play that was a pretty interesting pickup, so I thought for Game Room 2 this might be a neat score. This one's actually pretty fun. It's got about 10 or 15 games on it. It's got a cable that coils right back up into the inside, and that joystick, it's got a really nice click to it. If you want a full review on this one, let me know in the comments, and maybe I'll have to look at this one a little more in depth. Sometimes at the thrift store, you have to dig. You have to dig, you have to dig, and you have to keep on digging, but every once in a while, it pays off. This Rock Band dongle was only $3.99, and that's not too bad of a deal. These things actually do pretty well on eBay, as a lot of people are able to find the guitars, but not the dongles that you need to connect them to the consoles. But even if you find one of these loose and you're just starting a game collection, I don't even test them with a guitar. I just plug it into any USB port, and if the LED lights up, we're in business. Those two items cost me $10.33 Canadian, leaving the game fund at this. And that's it for episode 3 of Game Room 2. I so appreciate all the likes, comments, and subscribes. All that stuff goes a long way in helping my channel grow. I appreciate every single one of them. I'm trying to respond to all of you guys, and thanks so much. I will absolutely catch you on the next episode. You stuck around to the end, so you get some bonus footage. Episode 3's bonus footage is some behind the scenes of what it takes to run 2 different game rooms. I have to ferry all of the eBay items back and forth from Game Room 1 here to Game Room 2. In case anything ships or sells on eBay, I have it with me while I'm here at home. And then to have it back on the game shelves in Game Room 2, I bring it back with me and set it all up before I shoot anything. That includes this Star Wars shirt that we found back on episode 1, which is still listed and unsold on eBay. All of those items switch back and forth with me every single time, and it is a lot of work. But it's worth it, and I will absolutely see you again for episode 4.